we'll have customers come to us and say, I'm working less than I ever have in my whole life and making more money than I ever have. And I say, hell yeah, that's our mission. That's exactly what I want to hear every time. My name is Ben, and I am the founder and CEO of JobNimbus. And I've been doing JobNimbus. We started JobNimbus in 2013. Been in the industry a few years before that, learning about it and that sort of thing. So we've been around for over a decade, seeing the trends. And one of the things that's probably completely obvious to everybody in this room is that everybody here is now saying AI next to everything they're doing, right? Even if it's not really AI, everybody's using AI as a buzzword. And then you go on the news and it's all AI all the time. And you're probably playing around with AI yourself right now, probably messing around with ChatGPT or Google's Gemini or some of the most popular ones, and asking it questions and seeing what it can do. And I will tell you, just being a technologist myself and having worked in AI in a previous career life, we are not anywhere close to having robots think for themselves, even though everybody says that. They are just really smart parrots right now. All they can do is tell us what we already told them. So you'll notice that the way that AI works is that it thinks about things that you ask in the context of what it's already been told, and it just repeats it back. Now, it repeats it back in really useful ways, and in some ways, it's better than Google in how it works because it's so much better at understanding the context of your words, but it's still just parroting back words it's already know. It doesn't do any thinking. There's nothing novel that AI can do, but we can use the power of AI in this repeating to do things for us that we already know are easy to do, sometimes even hard things to do, and it's really good at that. So I want to talk about how to break through some of the barriers of the BS today about AI and get to some things that you can do and that we're also doing as a company that can help you grow your business. If you guys don't know about JobNimbus, our mission is to make contractors heroes. We want you to be a hero in these three ways. We want you to be a hero to your customer, get lots of 5-star reviews, grow your business, be able to expand locations, hire people. We're all about profitable growth. And everything we do at JobNimbus is trying to drive that growth for you in your life. We love you guys. It's so cool to see that when you grow the business, you guys give back in your communities. And so we think of that as part of our mission, helping enable you to have more profit so you can give back in the community, and also so you can have more time with your family and friends, because there's a lot of broken marriages in this industry. There's a lot of substance abuse problems. We want to be a company that helps you, gives you tools so that you can have life balance and you can build a generational business. And even if you want to sell to a private equity or whatever, you still have to have something that's sellable, and we want to help you build that company. So that's what we do as a company. Our mission, make contractors heroes. That's our why. That's why we exist. How we're going to do it, what we're doing to make that happen is we're trying to automate the entire end-to-end flow of your business. If you can scale to a $50 million company with 25 people, that's a huge win for us. That's where you get the profit. That's where you can actually give better pricing to your property owners. That's where you can change your communities. Nobody wants to work with a bunch of robots, right? You want to have people on your team, but we want you to be able to have those people do more with all the tools but still have life balance. That's ideal. That's where we're trying to go as a business right now. And what's so interesting, we've had this vision for a long time, and we've been writing software that helps automate more parts of your business. We're now, with AI, able to accelerate that vision because AI really helps us speed up some of those things and helps you automate more things. You guys know roofing is rapidly changing right now, and there's like so many different things. It's just crazy walking the show floor today, even from 5 years ago. You guys, anybody at IRE last year? Did you notice how many private equity guys were walking around? And by the way, you knew them because they're the only ones wearing suit coats here, you know, and they all dress exactly the same and have their little leather briefcase. By the way, if there's any PEs in here, no shade on you. That's just your uniform. But everybody knew who you were. And then you notice they caught the message because they're all in incognito, wearing sweatshirts, but they're all still here right now, and they're looking for people like you. And so we're seeing all these changes, and AI is one of those things that's coming fast. And if you want to be a successful company over the next decade, you're going to have to learn to use these tools and harness them to get the edge. Because I will say, if you're not with a PE group, and by the way, some PE groups aren't running things very well, as we all well know, but some are. If you're not under a PE umbrella, it's going to get harder and harder for you in your market because they're going to be dumping dollars into marketing to fight you. And so you actually have to up the level of your business acumen if you want to fight them. You can win. You can win. We see it over and over. When you run a great business, you can beat them, but you have to do things differently and you have to improve. So there's a bunch of different trends that we're seeing in the industry right now. Homeowners have insane expectations. You guys, I don't know if you're seeing this, but our customers are seeing more and more just disgruntled people over sort of absurd things like it's a day later and they already can't believe you didn't do this or that. Their expectations are off the charts. And they just don't even understand the basics of how home exteriors works or how their whole system is set up on their house. And it's hard to explain to them, and they're very impatient. We're gonna see more and more of this. Part of this is the short attention span of the average American, and we're creating more and more of this with all of the TikTok and everything. Nothing wrong with that, but it is getting worse and worse. People don't have patience these days. Then you have the complexity of the job. I often say that contracting is a logistical nightmare because you have so many stakeholders you have to work with. It's so hard to do this job. It's not just your property owner. You have to deal with your crews. You've got to usually have subs, and so they're not even directly working for you. They're usually 1099. And then you have to deal with the suppliers. And it's been a nightmare to deal with supply issues. It's gotten a little better since COVID. Well, maybe a lot better, but still a problem. And then you have to deal with the insurance companies a lot of times. And everybody's just pulling their hair out because it's the worst year ever last year to work with an insurance company. They're horrible to work with right now. It's so hard, and there's no systems to fix these things. So it's getting more complicated to do what we used to do. Then we have all the volatility in the labor and material market. We've got cash flow issues. Whenever you ask a contractor what your number one problem is, they never say cash flow, and it's always cash flow. These are cash businesses. And most of us here are running a business where we are not actually even putting on the roof ourselves. We're usually subbing that out. We're more of a sales organization in a lot of ways. And so cash is king in that. And we have to figure out ways to move the money through the organization faster. And then, as I mentioned, AI is transforming not just this industry, but our world right now. So I want to share with you a few stats that are, I think, kind of interesting from this right now. The average response time for a lead in our industry right now is 42 hours. That's extremely slow, guys. That like nobody else in any other market I've ever been in is that slow. And that's the norm right now. Yet we have this higher expectation. We've got 43% of contractors don't have enough working capital. And this actually feeds into something bigger, which is 1 in 5 roofing businesses fails over a 24-month period. It's crazy. So there's about 80,000 roofers in the US and Canada right now, roughly. And you're gonna have like 1 in 5 of those going out of business over the next couple years. And because so many states have low barrier to entry for roofing, there's not a lot of certification, some there's none. You can start a roofing company pretty easily and just say you're gonna do stuff, even if you're terrible at it. And so then you have all these new businesses coming on. To give you it in perspective, 80,000 roofers is a lot. There's only about 6,000 solar companies in the whole US and Canada. It's like dwarfing it, you know? So this is a huge market with a ton of competitors in a lot of different spaces and really pocketed in more storm-based areas, you know, like Florida and Texas are areas where you have even more concentration of roofers. And a lot of people are going out of business, which sucks. All right. The big difference that we've seen in the companies that stick around long-term and that don't is obviously execution. It's not just they work harder. In fact, in a lot of cases, we'll have customers come to us and say, I'm working less than I ever have in my whole life and making more money than I ever have. And I say, hell yeah, that's our mission. That's exactly what I want to hear every time. So it's not actually about effort, although there's a lot of work that's involved in building a business in this industry. It's more about how you run the business. And one of the things that we have done We started this 3 or 4 years ago. We started doing the largest market research study in roofing ever done. And we call it peak performance. And we have made this free every single year to the industry. And what we wanted to do, the vision for this was, let's get thousands of roofers to give us information about how they're running their business. Let's benchmark that against their profit and their growth. And then we can correlate, hey, the companies that are growing the fastest and making the most money do this, and the ones growing the slowest are doing this. And we could help guide people into, what should I even be doing differently right now to win? That was the whole concept. Then 2 years ago, we added in a homeowner side to this, where we asked the property owners what they wanted, how they wanted to be treated, how they wanted to be serviced. And we got a lot of great data on that. And then we correlated that against the companies that get the most and the highest 5-star reviews, what they're doing for those customers, and what the ones that are getting the worst reviews are doing. So you can see all of this data. It's totally open to you all. And this report we call Peak Performance, and we just launched the new one here at the show. And by the way, just as a side note, if you would like to get this, I'm gonna have a QR code that you can just download it. It's free to everybody here. We really want to help the industry. I'm gonna just give you a sampling of a few things in here, and then I'm gonna tie this back to AI. So we have like this type of data. So peak performers, roofers that are doing the best, have the best margins, are having more diversification of trades that they're doing than people that are doing straight only roofing or just insurance or just retail or whatever. And this may seem obvious, but a lot of these things, gutters and siding and that sort of thing, can be higher margin parts of the business. And as we all know, most homeowners notice their roof problem before they notice anything else. And so the roofer typically gets called and becomes the general on the whole exterior job, pulls in the gutters, pulls in the siding, pulls in the windows and doors. They're really the trusted consultant. They're the one that collects the money. They're the one that sells the deal. So they're in control. So we really like the idea of you guys harnessing more of that. One of the things I talked to several customers just at the show yesterday that are having great success with is these roof rejuvenation products. They go in like, we hate doing repairs. It's a $200 repair. It's a total waste of time. They go out there now and they say, hey, look, we can fix this thing for $200. We can't do a re-roof on it. But we did notice that it's getting kind of old. We have a rejuvenation product that can add 6 years life to your roof, and it's $1,400. And then they say, oh, hell yeah, let's do that, because I'm going to sell this place in 2 years. I don't have to re-roof it. Exactly. So then you go and get to apply this material, and now the margin much better, because it's very high margin, those roofing products like that. And it's a great way, and of course, everybody who is doing repairs in here knows, if you do a great job, you always get the re-roof down the road. So a lot of people do repairs almost as like a loss leader just because they want to get the re-roof later. Makes a lot of sense, but why not make some more money on those repairs? Roof rejuvenation is one of those things. So here we go, roof coatings is one of the things on this list. Another piece of data for you that's kind of interesting here. The importance of your reviews to the homeowner. May be obvious, but 92% of homeowners say their biggest decision is made based off of your reviews. So if you're running at 3.2 stars and your competitor's at 4.8, it's a problem. The other thing that sucks right now, but it's just reality, is the most common word somebody types into Google or ChatGPT when they're asking a question to it about like looking for a contractor is best. They put best in front of it. Best roofer in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, we all decided that Google and ChatGPT know best. And the way that they know best, this is wild, they use your reviews as the #1 indicator of how to rank you in those search results. Now, there's other factors too, but it's a big, big deal. And so that's coming through also in the homeowner surveys. Another thing that we see, the roofers that are doing the best have multiple lead sources, and they're tracking those leads, and they know exactly where leads are coming from and how much they paid for them and what's converting and what isn't, and then they're optimizing that. Now, most people's marketing is a black box. They don't really understand it 100%. Our marketing is admittedly very complex. We have a team that helps our customers with roofing or marketing if you're ever interested in that. But regardless, you should be tracking all of your lead sources and knowing where your leads are coming from and how they're converting. Average roofers getting about 20 usable leads a month, and they should be getting closer to 35 plus according to our data if they want to maintain at the better than average industry growth rates. And then there's some interesting data about these leads. One, top performers driving 70% of their leads through social media. So if you don't have a good social media system, you're missing out on like more than half of where your growth could come from. And then on top of that, I mentioned that 42-hour response time is the average in the industry. Our best customers, even non-customers, best roofers in the market, doing 30 minutes or less to follow up with a customer. So it's like a massive gap in how they're tracking things and getting them. Now, most of the people that are doing 30 minutes or less have automated the follow-up to the customer, especially that first follow-up. So that's something to consider along the way here. 1 in 3 roofers does not offer a multi-option proposal, meaning like a good, better, best. Admittedly, a lot of the systems in this market have not been able to do good, better, best. You know, if you use like a quoting solution or something, it's really hard. And a lot of people have made their own spreadsheets, and it's really hard to set up a spreadsheet that can do good, better, best. Some of you are spreadsheet geniuses I've met, and you figured it out. But it's not the most smooth thing, and it's hard to get other people in the company. And often when I ask the owner, who's the best estimator in the company, it's always the owner. And he can never figure out how to get anybody else as good, right? So they tend to live on these spreadsheets. But what we found are the companies that are doing the best are offering a good, better, best option. And here's what's wild, 50% of those customers are choosing the best option. So when you offer 3, about half in our data are going straight to the top. That's wild, because that's like pure profit pretty much on those products for you. So it's a big missed opportunity if you're trying to drive your growth rate and you're not doing good, better, best. Another one, the number 3 biggest concern for homeowners working with a roofer is poor communication. Probably obvious. We all have had an experience with a customer. By the way, customers aren't very good at communicating back either. So let's be honest here. It's a two-way street. But what we want to do, we want to be the one that's always over communicating and is always looked at as like, this is amazing to work with these people. They're so proactive. That's how you actually get a lot more 5-star reviews. Here's a wild thing about this stat. We ran a really interesting survey 3 years ago where we said, okay, you gave a really bad review to that contractor. Why did you do it? Well, it was bad communication. Okay, let me ask you this. Let's say everything still went bad on the job, exactly the same way, but you knew about it all the way through that couple-week period that things were going bad. I would have raised my review 1-2 stars. So we see a lot more people giving high-star reviews if they're well communicated, even if things go wrong on the job. Now, in terms of the rating consistency, you can see the ones that are getting the highest rating, the best contractors in that 4.9 star rating. So it's really high bar that you're working against right now. So how many times are we following up with the customer? 1 to 2 updates on a job for the average roofer, 4 to 6 on the best roofers right now. And then only 4% of the industry right now has fully automated their communication to their customer. It's possible. There's lots of tools. AI actually is really good at this, but very few people have figured it out. And about half of you are doing some automation. So that's great. We're starting there. But crazy enough, half of the industry is doing no automation at all. Everything's manual. And there you have a real problem trying to have any consistency. The other one I want to tell you about here is the average gross profit margin. 21 to 30 is not great because that's gross, guys. So that's where you should be in net if you're really running a great business. This is not good right now. And I can't tell you the number of people that come to us and tell us like, oh yeah, I'm running a 50% margin business. Is like, wow. And then we get them into the system and we actually run it and it's 4%, you know? It's like people don't know. They just think that they're looking at the checking account and thinking that they know the margin. You have to run it by the numbers much more consistently. And we'd like to see that go way up in the market. Now, this is just a sampling of the kind of stuff you can get in the report for free. And we really just want to help everybody here. We want you guys to win. We think of these as the standard for excellence. And you can use this. And I encourage you to go with your team and actually have a meeting where you guys walk through this and go, what's 2 things we could do right now to change to be more like the best in the industry so that we can win long term? And then go make those changes to the business. That's how you could use this. Now, let's talk about how AI plays into this whole thing. AI is changing everything right now. And one of the things that everybody probably doesn't think enough about is that AI eats data for breakfast. The only way that this parrot knows how to parrot back what it's saying is it's trained on data. So actually, data is the currency of AI, and the companies with the most data have the most chance to make the best AI products. It's why Google, who admittedly started later than OpenAI and ChatGPT, is now surpassing them because Google's data set is bigger than OpenAI's data set. So they are starting to accelerate past. And that's why Apple, you might have seen the announcement last week, decided to go with Google in the iPhone for their AI Siri instead of ChatGPT. They switched off of it because Google looks likely to win because they have more data. So one of the things that people don't know about JobNimbus, people call us a CRM, customer relationship management software. We help you manage everything from your lead all the way to payment and close, and even collecting a review, everything in between. So scheduling out your crews, creating a mature order, doing all your estimating. And we have automated tools that let you send all your text messages and your emails and that sort of thing to the customer without having to do anything manually. That's the whole point. Remember, our mission, make contractors heroes. Our vision, do it by automating your entire business. So I mention that because we right now, our data says we have the biggest data set of roofing jobs ever created in the world right now. We've been around for over a decade collecting this data. Now, one thing that's I think is really important, because it's kind of a sensitive subject in the market right now after this whole thing blew up with Verus, but we do not sell your data. I will tell you, we get somebody who calls us every day asking to sell your data. If you're a customer of ours, we've never sold your data. We will never sell your data. That's not how we operate. And we would never want the insurance companies to have all your jobs and know what your data is. It seems absurd. We would never do that. That's our commitment to the market. We're very protective of it. But we would use data to help train AI tools for you so that you can run faster. And we happen to be sitting on a gold mine of data. The other thing is we have the biggest database of roofing customers, and we did peak performance. And because we did peak performance, we have an insane amount of benchmarking data about what the best companies do. So we're taking all this and we've been training AI. For over a year now, we've been kind of putting this together and getting really good at this. And I'll tell you, I happen to know for a fact we are using AI more than any other competitor in this market right now. Our teams are generating a massive amount of code with AI. We're really AI forward as a company. It's something we decided to do a while back, and we completely morphed the organization to an AI forward company. And because of this, we built a couple products. One you probably heard about last year called Assist AI, which is an AI answering service. It basically is like a smart AI that can answer your phone call. About 40% of calls are missed by our average customer. I mean, they're busy, they're working, and especially after hours. So this AI answers it. It can look up the job. It can inform the customer of an appointment. It can also go and set an appointment with the customer and assign it out. Super cool. But I want to introduce you to something we just launched at the show here that we're super excited about. This is called Scout. Scout is a natural language interface into JobNimbus. So the concept behind this is, how can we make an assistant for you that just does stuff for you all day long? And instead of you having to tell it what you want to automate, how can it just look at what's happening in the business and understand your workflow and then say, oh, well, this job just got complete, so we need to send an invoice. I just sent it for you. Oh, I just collect the payment for you. That's what Scout's built to do, is just do things for you. Again, back to our vision of automating your entire business. So when you think about it, a lot of the AI stuff right now is kind of annoying because they actually want you to buy more things and then set up more tools and set up more dashboards, and it's more tech that you have to manage, and you have to clutch together 6 solutions. It's not ideal. Most of our customers don't like to deal with technology a whole lot anyways. They just want a system that just takes care of it for them. That's what we've been building with Scout. In fact, this is just something we include with JobNimbus. There's no extra cost for this. We think this is something everybody needs. And when we watch how our customer works, most of our customers very rarely are tapping things out on their phone or their iPad. They're not doing that. They're actually talking to their phone 90% of the time, especially if they're standing on a roof and you're trying to explain something. So we have this set up so you can just tell it anything. You can say, We have a great example. Last week, customers like, oh man, I know I did this job. It was like 14,000. I quoted it. I cannot find it in the system. I don't remember what the customer's name was. I don't know why. Hey, tell me a job I did that was $14,000. Pulled it right up. Just figures it all out. It just knows. It's so convenient. And you just talked to your phone and did it. Now, normally you'd have to click around and tap that stuff in, and you just tell it, and it just figures it all out. Or I want to run an inspection right now and say like, okay, I've got, I see some damage on the north corner of the roof, and you're just talking to it, and it's putting it all together into an inspection report for you. You take photos, and it figures it out. It can auto-annotate the photo for you, circle the damage, and put in. It's super cool. It's super cool. This is the type of thing that smart parrot can actually do really well, because we've trained it on literally hundreds of millions of jobs. It knows how you work, and it knows what the most common scenarios are, and so it's doing it for you. So this should help you close gaps in what you're doing, not create new work for you. That's the whole idea. It's embedded in JobNimbus. It watches your activity in your workflow, and it surfaces risks that you have and opportunities you have, and then it does them for you. Now, I'm kind of pitching this like, oh, it sounds like perfect. Still things that it can't do yet, but it does a lot right now. And it really meaningfully increases the amount of work you can get done with less time. It's super cool how it's working already. And we're just on the cutting edge of what can be done with AI. Let's talk a little bit about Scout for a second. Helps you close your response time because it can automate all your response to your leads for you. It can tell you about estimates that haven't been followed up on. One of the things that's really worrisome is you spend a lot of money on a lead. You even spend money to have somebody go out and do an estimate, and then they're not following up. And you guys saw it's like 4 to 5 times the average person's following up to get a deal done, and yet most people are doing 1 to 2 right now. So automate that follow-up. And you can make it look real. The AI is very conversational, so the homeowner would never even know that it's not you actually sending that follow-up right now. Calling out missed follow-ups, surfacing risks that you might have with leads, like, hey, this is a problem right now, you need to go dig in on it. There's also a whole bunch of operation things it can do. Tell you about jobs that are delayed. Hey, why is this thing stuck in this stage for so long? What's going on? You need to take a look at it, because the whole name of the game here is trying to move money from the customer's pocket into your pocket. And that means things need to get done in the workflow as fast as possible to get money in your pocket. So we must know where the bottlenecks are, and then ideally, it's even helping you move through those bottlenecks with communication, breakdowns. You see also operational risks that you might have. And then you have the cash flow problem. So it can help you send out invoices automatically and help you collect the money automatically. It can do your collections for you. It can just automate that, so you don't have to have somebody calling up people all day long. It can do that stuff for you. Scout keeps track of the job. It knows when you're at the job location, it can just pull it up for you automatically, because it knows your GPS, it knows where you are. So it pulls it together. Great. So you're already off to the races, and you can be talking to it to do all the things you need to do on the job. You don't have to tap around. It makes us, you don't really have to learn the software as much too. You just need to know what it does and then tell it, and it will do it. Oh, I don't remember. Was I supposed to click here on that 3 little dots? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just talk to it and it just does it for you. Super cool. So one of the things your guys, you're like, oh, your salespeople especially hate technology, don't want to deal with any of it. Great. Just talk to this thing and it does it for you. 15-minute training and you could be using this thing effectively and actually getting value out of it. Keeps your data accurate. Make sure that you're putting in the right things. And you just talk to your app and then work gets done, and it's doing smart things in the background. And even in our early stage here, it's doing a lot of stuff for you. We have plans for it to do even more over time. And we will get to the point where we can automate so much of the job that you'll be able to scale this business with maybe 5 times less people. It's sort of like our goal than you could right now. That's profit. That's competitive edge, okay? That's what we're trying to do for you here. So, as I said, the difference isn't effort, it's execution on this. And a couple of takeaways for you. If you want to see Scout in action, just see what's possible, come to the booth. We'd love to show you a demo. If you want to get peak performance and just see how you could benchmark yourself, come to the booth. We'll give you a copy of it. We have paper copies. We have digital copies. So Scout early access open now if anybody wants to see it or play around with it. And we've got about 10 minutes right now. I wanted to reserve for any questions that somebody might have. You can see a preview at our booth 1401. Yeah, go ahead. I'll try to repeat back the question. Okay, the question is it still worth it to have a door-to-door sales team in light of all the stuff that's happening with this automation and that sort of thing? It's a tricky question. I think we're in a transitionary period. I see many of our customers still having great success with door knockers. Now, there's a couple of core problems that are surfacing that are worse than ever right now. Number one, everybody has a damn Ring camera, and so they won't answer the door as much. So you tend to knock into older generation people that don't know how to use their technology or their Ring cam to screen. So that's one thing. You're getting less doors to open. And then the second problem is the work ethic of the current generation sucks in some ways. And so many of our customers are having to hire 20 people to keep 2 over a 2-week period that actually shake out. Now, it's always been hard in door knocking, but it's never been that bad. That's a really bad ratio. And so it's kind of like a churn and burn thing. But if you can get that system running, we have customers having great success with it. Some areas of the country are better than others right now for it. Some are more modernized than others. I think door knocking still got some life in it, but I don't know that it will be so much of the norm. 10 years ago, it was the norm. Everybody's number one lead source was door knocking. And today it's probably like 50%. And I think within 10 years, it's probably like 5%. So I think it's gonna go away over time, but it's not going away right now. That's my opinion. So a couple things we're working on. We're working with an amazing company that I can't quite announce yet that has the most property data ever assembled in the world. And they are going to allow us to give this property data to customers. So when you add a job to JobNimbus, it will automatically pull in the number of squares on the roof. It'll pull in the age of the roof, and it'll tell you the roofing material if it has it. And the database is very good. So say 90% of the time it's gonna have it. So you already have an idea of what you're getting into within a second or two of you putting in the job. Now, if you're knocking the door, that's great. Now you're armed with some information. If you are back at the office, which is more than half the time collecting the appointment, when you go out for the appointment, we wanna go the next step, say, okay, pull down a measurement for you automatically, apply it to your template. Hey, we already know the basics of this, and generate a good, better, best estimate for you that you didn't have to do anything. What we want is so that every owner's like, who's your best estimator? And they say, oh, my AI is. That's what we want. So we're working on that right now. We actually have made a lot of progress on that, even in the last 6 months, and it's getting very close. So fingers crossed, but it is 100% on a roadmap and something we really, really want to do and hope to accomplish this year. Now, that doesn't mean you can't just edit your estimate later or whatever. There's always going to be new things that you learn. And of course, you might want to upsell the customer on other things. But we want to arm you with something when you walk up to the customer and do that appointment, you already have it ready to go. So the thing I think that's the coolest that I see customers do right now is like, even if you're running your whole business on a spreadsheet or in another competitive system, you can get data out of it. And most people are not great with Excel and they're not good at understanding insights. Just take your CSV file or your whatever's spit out of your database that you have or your Excel and upload it into, say, ChatGPT and ask it questions like, hey, what's my average margin right now? And it will do the math and figure it all out. And it's like really good at it. If you might spend an hour on this to get it set up, but then you can start training it. Every month, maybe you upload your data. Now it knows trends. And it's like, hey, how do we benchmark against last year at the same time? And it can tell you all this if you just conversationally can understand. So now think about being in a leadership team meeting with your leadership team or being in a sales meeting and somebody asks a question. And you're like, hold on, let's ask AI really quick. Oh yeah, it was this. And you always know what reality is. And it's like having a CFO sitting next to you that you're not paying for. I think that's the coolest use case I've seen right now for AI. There's of course a million AI tools on the floor and there's some pretty neat stuff going on right now, but that's the one that's real that you don't have to pay extra for right now. It's super cool.
What are the 3 companies you recommend to collaborate with?
Yeah, great question. The way that I see it, if you look at most industries, when you're small, you want to keep your tool sets small, and also the less tools, the better. So ideally, using one system or 2 things is ideal at that stage because you're not overwhelming the system. What I found is the companies get bigger and bigger, they have more complex problems and they have to integrate more solutions. So our biggest customers have maybe like 10 things that they're trying to hook together. And that's one of the big things that JobNimbus is huge on is like, we want to be the most interoperable system in the market and work with everybody. We have more partners than anybody here. So At the smaller stage, I'd actually say it's not about having 3 or 4 solutions. Try to do like 1 or 2. You know, a lot of those customers would just have like a JobNimbus or something like that, and then a QuickBooks, you know, for accounting. Now, probably the number one thing I see customers at that stage also have is Company Cam, because Company Cam is such a great app. It's a photo taking application, and it's a great company. We've been partners with them for over 10 years. We love those guys. It integrates super smooth with JobNimbus. We also have photo taking built into JobNimbus. So a lot of people are like, well, I don't need to use a third party, even though I really like that app. I'm just going to use JobNimbus's built-in thing. So that's why I say maybe as you get bigger, you might want to grow into some of those other systems, and we interoperate with them. But at the smaller stage, I'd actually try to keep it simpler and use everything in one as much as possible. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Have a great show, everybody.